so you're on the journey, and now we're in the book of 2 Corinthians. And let me tell you what's going on here. We're at AD 56, okay? Paul has been in Ephesus, which is modern-day Turkey. And here's what's going on. He's causing riots in Ephesus because all the people who sell idols aren't making as much money because of Paul spreading Christianity around. So there's riots in the town, and Paul decides to go to Corinth. Now, if you watch the 1 Corinthians video in the journey, you know that the reason why he's going to Corinth is there's been a lot of problems circulating around that church. And so basically, he's on his way to Corinth. He stops in Philippi to write this letter. And basically, what he finds out about Corinth is one of his young disciples named Titus has told him, well, Paul, their attitude towards you's gotten better, but there's a new problem. All these guys have come down from Jerusalem, these Jews, and they're spreading around that, hey, Paul, he's not who he says he is. You need to follow Jewish law. You need to, yeah, that's okay to be a Christian, but you also need to do all this Jewish stuff too. And so they are basically blasting Paul, getting all these people riled back up against Paul. So Paul writes this letter and lets them know, I'm coming, but while I'm on my way, allow me to defend myself against these people. So 2 Corinthians basically is a defense of Paul's life and ministry. He basically lays it all out and says, look, here is what my life has been like. You look at it and you tell me who's telling you the truth. So it's a pretty interesting book. He lays it out. He goes against these false teachers and does some things like that. He also paints a picture of what true ministry looks like, which is very interesting. He says, number one, it's motivated by love. It's motivated by love. That's huge. He says its actions are pure. So if it's motivated by love and its actions are pure, you know that is what true ministry looks like. He also says that it includes suffering. And he tells everybody, look, don't be afraid of suffering. Be fearless in the face of death because God will comfort you through suffering. And lastly, he mentions giving. And he encourages the church at Corinth. He says, guys, you need to keep giving. And here in 2 Corinthians, you find a lot more written about giving than you do in most of the New Testament. He tells them, look, give joyfully, but look, take responsibility to give. It is your responsibility, but do it joyfully. So there's some interesting stuff in this book, 2 Corinthians. I mean, Paul is mad, and he is defending himself in this book. So that's what makes it so interesting. So we'll see you next time on The Journey.